Hey, what's up? Tyler here, and I'm actually going to show you a technique that I started back like 6, 7 years ago. And this technique is a little different. It incorporates exercise and psychology of how you think and feel about money. So, to give some context to this, I was in college studying, and I was in one of my, it was actually a class for like science, but my teacher was fascinated with the power of the body and the mind. So we did some studies on taking power naps and how they related to test scores, and did some studying through uh, different practices based off of NASA tests. And I volunteered. I was like, heck yeah, I'm always into like doing weird stuff and seeing how it affects my abilities. And sure enough, doing those habitual things daily improved my test scores. And I was like, this is cool. And so I thought, well, if incorporating exercise with study actually improved my study skills, I thought, well, what if incorporating exercise through trying to change how I think and feel about money changed how I received money in my life? And so I did this technique, and I started literally like when I first started about 6.5, 7 years ago. And at first it felt really weird, but then I thought, well, cool. Well, if I'm broke and I don't have any money, which at the time I was making less than $12,500, I was super broke. So I was like, I don't got nothing to lose. And based off of some of the simple techniques that I was using then, and I did a lot of processing on my emotions and like working out stuff, I was able to go from a place of making less than $12,500 in a year. That was me working it, trying hard, and struggling all the time, to doing weird techniques and actually getting some really incredible results. To the next year, I ended up making over 135 grand, got my wife a beautiful grand piano. And the following year, I was able to do over $250,000 in one weekend. So, based off of these principles, how can you get to where you change how you think and feel about a thing so that you no longer resist it, you no longer self sabotage, you no longer do all of the unproductive things and just get results? So, you can do this technique. And I was very consistent with this. I literally did it like every day or every other day, especially when I was really broke, and it felt so hard to think about money and to bring money in my life. As I started to make money, I did it a lot less, but it's still fun and it works. And I am going to do it just to get some next level things. So my goal here is to like crush out $1 million in less than 6 months on a funnel and win the 2CCX award that I've been working on for the past several years. So this is the next level, and this next year we're going to do that. So we have all the systems in place. I've done alignments on myself, and we feel like we are now ready for that to come into our lives. Now, with that, how do you do this process and what does it do? Well, when you think about every single dollar bill or every single quantity of money has a different frequency. It has a different definition to it, a different energy. So when I look at a dollar bill and I look at a $5 bill and I look at a $10 bill, a $20 bill, a $100 bill, a $50 bill, or whatever, all the different bills that there are, and then I look at certain quantities of check numbers like $10,000 or $12,000 or $100,000 or $1 million. Each quantity has a different frequency. And depending on what your experience is, we tie definitions to those um, quantities. For example, back when I started, $10,000 was a lot. It also, I had set the goal to make $10,000 in a month, and it was very difficult. I tried and I got rejected and I failed, and it was a struggle, and I turned to addictive behaviors. So, behind the thought of $10,000 a month was a well of emotions stored in my body that said, $10,000 is hard. It's impossible. You've tried and failed. It's going to be tough. You've got to do a ton of crazy things to do it, and you'll never make it. Other people can do it, but you can't. So I had all of these bodily, physical interpretations tied to $10,000. As I worked through that and got to where it felt good and comfortable and easy and effortless, then my definitions disassociated and a new feeling of excitement, of hope, of passion, of energy was put towards it. So then when I thought of 10,000, instead of going into an addictive, habitual way, I went into an excited way. Same thing happened when I wanted to make my first $100,000 in a week. And I was like, man, $100,000, it seems like, oh, I've done it in a year, but to do that in a week seems so hard. So I did this process. I remember thinking about 100 grand and it felt like, oh, it takes a whole year. It's a lot of hard work. I had to sacrifice my family. And I tied all of these definitions to $100,000. As I disassociated, some doing this technique mostly through aligning, but this technique helps a huge amount to do it, to switch how you feel about it. I got to where $100,000 felt simple, fun, easy. I could do it quickly. It's easily obtainable. I'm grateful for it. And then I did an event and not only made $100,000 in an event, but made over $220,000 in 3 days. So those same principles, as crazy as it might seem or look, it works. And I've taught this to a lot of people. So I want to teach you today. And like and subscribe if this resonates. If you do it and get some results, I'd love to hear it. Put a comment below. I'd love seeing your guys' comments. And then for those of you who are wanting to learn next level stuff, you can always join my Facebook group, tylerfb.com, tylerfb.com, and that'll take you to my group where you can go through the unit section and learn more advanced techniques, especially the abundance alignment technique. All right, so let's dive in. So here's what you do. My goal is to look at this money, and I don't have all the quantities out, but ideally you would want to have a 1, a 2, a 5, a 10, a 20, 50, 100, all the quantities that you have, and then certain check numbers that you want to bring in. So if you have a program or something that you're trying to sell for a certain amount of money, that's really good to write yourself a check. And I always have on like a, hey, date today, Tyler Watson, this one's just for 200,000, living my dream. So I want to have to where bare minimum, we always have just like at the minimum, like 200K all the time, just consistently. Okay. So when I look at this, I want to allow myself to look at this, and I'm going to do some exercises. Now, I like to do push-ups. You can do any form of exercise. The goal is to get your cardio up, to become exhausted, tired, while looking and speaking. So visual and audible. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I want to visually look at this, and I want it to allow it to bring up any negative stuff inside of me. Also, I want to speak anything, and I do positives on this. So as I look at this, I am going to look at the dollar, and if you can't do push-ups, you can do any other form of exercise. And I'm going to just keep exercising and until I get to a point of exhaustion. I'm going to say powerful phrases of like, I'm worthy, I'm deserving. And the goal is to do positive affirmations while looking at this until I feel like I am ready to receive it. Once I am ready and I've made a decision to be ready to have this in my life, I then take it, put it in my pocket, and say thank you. Okay? There's a lot of principles that we're diving into, and as goofy as this seems, well, it works for me and some other people that I've taught it to, so hopefully it'll work for you if you're open enough. Okay? So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to do some exercises, and I'm just going to show you, and then I'll talk to you how to do it. Okay? So I'm just going to go. Thank you. I am worthy of having money in my life. I love impacting people and having this come into my life on automations, systems. I have a team and it grows and grows, and I get this every day multiplied upon each day, upon each hour. I love making money. Money is fun. It's exciting. I love it. I love making money. Thank you. And before each one, I like to get really present to it. So I'm trying to evoke any negative feelings when I look at it. And as I go through this, I want to feel any resistance, do the process, make sure my resistance has shifted and it feels different. When I think about this, it now feels exciting. It feels thrilling. I'm a little out of breath, but it's like, sweet. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Then the next one, okay? So then I'm going to look at this and think about it. Allow my body to recenter and my mind. And then go. I am worthy and capable and deserving of making money every day. I love bringing in hundreds of thousands of these. I love receiving. I love giving. I am balanced. I create and I give over and over and over, and I love it. Thank you. So then you just continue this process, okay? And you go through. If you get tired on one exercise, I already did my workout for this morning, so I'm actually a little bit beat. I did a ton of push-ups earlier. So then you go through with each bill, and then you go through the checks, and then afterwards, I like to look at them again and just give gratitude for them in my life. And imagine receiving them in my life, being excited about it, being happy about it, being fulfilled, and truly like embracing the feeling of gratitude, looking at it, feeling it, sensing it, holding it, receiving it, giving it, being okay with all forms and fashions of everything that I do. And that's it. So give it a try. Let me know how it works for you. And yeah, sometimes I'd spend 20, 30 minutes a day working out, but I'd work out with a purpose to receive more in my life, to give more in my life. And not only did it help me physically get more in shape, but more importantly, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to be more connected, more present, have this be thinking about it, reestablishing new patterns. And what happens when you get exhausted, when you're tired, your automatic fight-flight response is shut down. So if I'm in an exhausted state, my adrenaline, all of the fight-flight responses, your body doesn't give it as much energy. So when you work out, it actually helps you maintain a balanced state. And the problem is when you see this type of money come into your life, those quantities, the doubts, the negativities, the uncertainties, the past perceptions kick in, and it becomes very difficult to form new habits. So yes, you can do the alignment that I teach, but this is also another fun way to help shift how you think and feel about money. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's what I have for you today. Like, subscribe if you'd like some more of this stuff. And for real, like, drop a comment. Let me know how this works for you. Go do it. Like, don't just watch me do it, but you'll never know unless you practice it. And the key is consistency. Start doing this as a daily routine. When you work out, if you're running the treadmill or something, then do a little power run. When you feel it, when you're saying the things out loud, the key is be sure and state the positive affirmations that you desire. So just allow it to be more fluid. State things about yourself, about others, about higher power, about money, and allow that to just make that shift. And then when you think about that money, you'll feel differently. And when you feel differently, you act differently. And when you act differently, different results happen. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you in the next one. And go out, get some exercise, make some money, have a blast. We'll see you soon.